Welcome to Learn Commerce PU online classes. Don't forget to like our video and subscribe our YouTube channel for all the updates.
Hello students, welcome to History online class. So in the last class we have discussed the various political achievements of different rulers and different dynasties, even up to Chalukyas. Today let us see the Rashtrakutas, one of the greatest kingdom or dynasty established in South India, especially in the Karnataka. So they ruled for a long time, and during their period they achieved so much, and various rulers who belonged to this dynasty, they contributed a lot. And especially, who were these Rashtrakutas? Rashtrakutas were the feudatories under Chalukyas of Badami. So after the demise and decline of Chalukyas, Chalukyas of Badami, Rashtrakutas came to power. And Rashtrakutas ruled in between 753 to 973 BCE. And what is the meaning of Rashtrakuta? Here Rashtra means country. Kuta means head. In total, Rashtrakuta means head of the country. It means the power. And even Garuda is the symbol, emblem of Rashtrakuta dynasty. Their royal emblem was Garuda. And their capital was Manyaketa or Malakeda. This Manyaketa or Malakeda, that is in present Gulbarga district. So and was the first ruler of Rashtrakuta dynasty. Danti Durga was the founder and the first king of Rashtrakuta dynasty, and he ruled for some time. And after that, Krishna first came to power. Krishna first, he built Ellora Kailasanatha temple. So, Kailasanatha temple at Ellora. Kailasanatha temple at Ellora was built by him, that is the Krishna first. And after Krishna first, Dhruva came to power. Dhruva, somewhat great king among the, one of the great king among the Rashtrakutas, and he ruled in between 786 to 793 BCE. And during this period, he was the prominent among the early Rashtrakuta rulers. There are the early and later Rashtrakuta rulers. In the early Rashtrakuta rulers, that is Dhruva, is the famous king. And when he came to power, North India was in the disturbance. There was a more chaotic condition. By using this opportunity, Dhruva, he conquered North India along with his children, that is Govinda III and Indra. Govinda III and Indra are the two sons of Dhruva. Along with them, he invaded over North India. So, Dhruva was able to defeat various kings in the North Indian area, especially Vyasaraja and Dharmapala. This Vyasaraja and Dharmapala were defeated in the North Indian campaign, and he got control over Ganga and Yamuna Doab. Ganga and Yamuna Doab in the northern India. In this way, after the victory of North India, what Dhruva did? He came to South India, and here Dhruva invaded Vengi. So Vengi Chalukyas, it was invaded by him, and he defeated Vengi and Ganga ruler. In the southern part of India, he defeated both of them, that is Vengi ruler and Ganga ruler. So after this defeating Ganga ruler, and he appointed his son Shivamara as a representative of Nalambavadi or head of Nalambavadi. So by doing so, Dhruva was able to extend the Rashtrakuta empire. So after Rashtrakutas, Govinda III came to power. Govinda III was also one of the important kings among the Rashtrakutas. He was the son of Dhruva. He ruled in between 793 to 814 BCE. So during this period, and he defeated the northern rulers, that is Chakrayudha. He conquered northern area and even defeated Chakrayudha, and he marched up to Himalaya. Govinda III marched up to Himalayan foothills, and it is said that his horses drank the flowing water of the river in the foothills of Himalaya. So that shows that Govinda III, he extended his empire up to Himalayan region. So that was a great achievement to Govinda III. And Ganga and Pandyas, they marched, and when he defeated the northern India. Now Gangas and Pandyas, they were together. They marched against Rashtrakutas in 1803. So this way he also defeated Pallavas. Pallavas were also defeated by Govinda III. So in this way, during the Govinda's III, the Rashtrakuta empire extended far and wide. In the northern part up to Himalaya, and the south up to Kanyakumari. A large empire was established by Govinda III, that's for Rashtrakuta empire. Well, after Govinda III, what we can see, Amogha Varsha the first. So the Amogha Varsha first is the greatest king among the Rashtrakuta kings. For what reason? For various reasons. He had his own achievements. For example, Amogha Varsha defeated Vengi Chalukyas. Vengi Chalukyas. Vengi Chalukyas. But was defeated by Rachamalla. However, he defeated Vengi Chalukya, but he was defeated by Rachamalla, and later Amogha Varsha gave up conflict with the all other rulers and made matrimonial relation with the Ganga kings. What he did? He stopped his conquest. Instead of that, he made friendly relation with the Gangas and he made them as allies. And in the last days of Amogha Varsha, he had to face a rebellion from Yuvaraja Krishna. So it was the great challenge for Amogavarsha. At the last stage of his rule, he had to face the opposition or rebellion from Yuvaraja Krishna, and however, it was very systematically suppressed by the commander of Amogavarsha, Bankesha. So Bankesha, the commander of Amogavarsha, suppressed the rebellion raised by Yuvaraja Krishna. And that is why here, in memory of that, a city was built, and that city was named as Bankapura. Bankapura. So this is what Amogavarsha at the last days. And Amogavarsha as a king, he was a great scholar, he wrote Prashnottara Ratnavali. Prashnottara Ratnavali. This is the book written in Sanskrit, and at the same time Amogavarsha, he patronized many scholars, poets, etc. He was a great patron of literature. During this period, Arab travelers Suleiman, who visited the court of Amogavarsha I, and Suleiman, he compared the kingdom of Rashtrakuta with the greatest three empires of a world. It may be China. So three great empires of a world is compared to Rashtrakuta Empire. Why? Because such a great and very strong kingdom which existed during that period, it was Rashtrakutas. Well, so this is what the achievement of Rashtrakutas and their political history. Contributions of Rashtrakutas. We have seen the political history of Rashtrakutas, how they established empire and how they extended the empire, and what was the contribution of various rulers to extend the empire. All this we have discussed. But after establishing, they provided a sound system of administration. At the same time, they contributed a lot to religion, literature, art and architecture. Coming to the religion, these Rashtrakuta rulers were the followers of Vedic religion. But at the same time, they were the religious tolerant, means they tolerated the existence of other religion in their own country or kingdom. For example, Jainism and Buddhism existed during that period, and almost all the Rashtrakutas king, they supported and patronized even other religions like Buddhism and Jainism. And at the same time, we can also see the Buddhist Sanghas in Kanneri near Mumbai. This is what one of the important center of Buddhism. And this is how their religious tolerant. And the second one, literature. Their contribution to the literature. Various scholars were patronized by the different kings of Rashtrakutas. And some of the kings themselves were the great scholars. For example, what we can see, Amogavarsha I. He was himself a great scholar. He wrote Prashnottara Ratnavali in a Sanskrit language. And even, as I told, they are the patterns of literature. And Kaviraja Marga. Kaviraja Marga is the first prose of Kannada which was written by Sri Vijaya. Sri Vijaya, and this is during the period of Amogha Varsha. He was a poet. He lived during the period of Amogha Varsha. He wrote Sri Vijaya. So, sorry, Kaviraja Marga, written by Sri Vijaya. And Ponna is another important scholar and poet, and he lived during the period of Krishna III. And he wrote Santinatha Purana. Ponna wrote Santinatha Purana. Santinatha Purana and Shivanaikya Ramabhyudaya. Shivanaikya Ramabhyudaya. Shivanaikya Ramabhyudaya. And he also is also called Ubhaya Kavi Chakravarti. Ubhaya Kavi Chakravarti. So what is the title of Ponna? So there will be a question for 1 mark. That is Ubhaya Kavi Chakravarti. Or what are the works of Ponna? That is Santinatha Purana and Shivanaikya Ramabhyudaya. This is the 1 marks question, and they may ask such questions in the exam. And another important scholar during his period, Rashtrakuta period, was the Pampa. And he is the court poet of Arikesari. Pampa, the court poet of Arikesari, he wrote Vikramarjuna Vijaya. Vikramarjuna Vijaya. So, Pampa is a court poet of Arikesari. He wrote Vikramarjuna Vijaya as his work. And Shivakoti Acharya, Shivakoti Acharya, Vadharadhane, so these are all the main works written by them. Apart from this, what we can see is also Vikramarjuna Vijaya written by Pampa. It's also called Pampa Bharata or Sahasa Bhima Vijaya. And Pampa as a title, it is a Adi Kavi Pampa. Adi Kavi. Who is called Adi Kavi? The Pampa is called Adi Kavi. What are the books written by or works of Vijaya? Well, apart from these great scholars, there are some other scholars. For example, Saktayana, he wrote Sabdanu Sasana. And Mahaviracharya, he wrote even Ganita Sara Sangraha. And Amogha Varsha, as I told, Prashnottaramala. And Trivikrama, he wrote Madalasa Champu. And Asaga wrote Vardhamana Purana. And Halayuda, he wrote Mruta Sanjeevini. So some important scholars and their works. So this is the contribution of Rashtrakuta to the field of literature. Coming to the art and architecture, what are the contributions made by Rashtrakuta? Rashtrakutas are the great pattern of art and architecture. They are the lovers of art and architecture, and they made different centers of art and architecture. Especially Ajanta, Ellora and Elephanta are the three important centers of Rashtrakuta art. Here they made a wonderful architecture. They built structural temples, cave temples and basadis, Ellora, Ajanta and Elephanta. So in the different temples and buildings were built by them. Especially this Ellora, Kailasanatha temple, it was built by Krishna first. That's situated in Ellora. There are 34 cave temples at Ellora in Aurangabad district of Maharashtra, and 5 of them were the Hindu temples. The monolithic stone temple, that is Krishna, what we call mono means single, lithic means stone, monolithic, single stone. They carved out of single stone, that is Ellora temple, that is Ellora cave temple, Kailasanatha temple, somewhere around 770 common era. And the temple is 164 feet long, 108 feet wide and 92 feet high. Such a big temple was built by them during the period of Rashtrakutas. This is a great architecture which is carved out of stone, that is the cave temple. Well, and then even Mahadwara, quadrangle, Shikara and Linga is in the Dravidian style. They adopted Dravidian style of architecture. And Dr. V.S. Smith has called this temple as one of the greatest artistic works of the world. Made by this temple or Kailasanatha temple, the greatest artistic style, a unique artistic style in the world. And the other Hindu temples at Ellora are Ravana's cave, Dasavatara cave, Rameshwara cave and Dumarlena caves, etc. And apart from them, even Neelakanta cave, Indra Sabha, Jagannatha Sabha and even other temples were also existed in this area. And Elephanta is one of the important centers. It is an island. Elephanta island 6 miles from Mumbai has 7 caves. In Elephanta you can see 7 caves. So why this place is called Elephanta? They big elephant in this area, and that is known as Elephanta. And where you can another name Goravarapura. Goravarapura is another name, and you can see the different creations, even the protection and destruction of God. The idol, which is 18 feet high, is carved between 2 half pillars. By using 2 half pillars, they carved God's idol. And even Dwarapalakas, even Ardhanarishwara, Shiva Parvati and other And most of the things what we can see here are very important aspects of the Ellora or Elephanta. Even the three important things in Elephanta, we see their the greatest contribution of Rashtrakutas. In this way, the paintings in the caves of Ellora not only for the political field but even for administration, art, architecture, religion, literature. They made huge contribution. By all these contributions of we should consider them in the history of India as one of the greatest dynasty which ruled the land for a long time, and they contributed and enriched of India. Thank you very much.
Don't forget to like our video and subscribe our YouTube channel for all the updates.